what is a firm's like goal, main goal?
To produce goods.
Why do they produce goods? Bring in revenue, right? They want their total revenue to be as high as possible. They want to make as much money as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So, to make enough, like, so total revenue, it equals what? Do you guys know?
Explicit cost.
Price times quantity, right? P times Q. So these have an inverse relationship, right? Because of the law of demand. As price increases, quantity demanded decreases, right? So the law of demand. So they need, in order to maximize their profits, they need to know what if their products are elastic, inelastic. You know, that's how they determine where their price should be, is based on the products they're selling because they want to maximize their total revenue. So if I were to say that the elasticity, if I were to say a product was inelastic, do you think it would be a good idea or a bad idea to increase the price?
Good idea, right?
Oh,
Because people don't have
That is a
as
good
much
idea.
control over how much they buy of it. They're still gonna buy it. either
Yeah, their response to the price change isn't going to be like they'll make more money changing the price because people are still gonna buy it. You know what I mean? There will be some people that don't decide to buy it because of the price change, but overall, because it's change in quantity demanded. This is for the definition for own price elasticity or elasticity of demand over the change in price. So basically, if it's greater than 1, that's why we know it's elastic. Sorry, it's kind of sloppy. We know it's elastic because the change in quantity demanded is greater than the price change if it's greater than 1. Does that make sense? And so that means that if we increase our prices, demand is going to go way down. Well, it's going to go down more than prices went up. And then so a change in quantity demanded or a change in price is less than 1. That means that our price change was greater than the change in quantity demanded. So we'd make more money. So this is inelastic. And then unit elastic is, of course, if that is equal to 1. And that just means that the change in quantity demanded is the same as the change in price. And then we have our schedule, our demand schedule. So like here is 1, anything below here is inelastic, and anything above here is elastic. That's kind of, does that make sense? Does anyone have any questions so far?
So that was the definition, quantity demanded over price.
The change in quantity demanded over the change in
So
price.
that's for finding inelastic, okay.
And do you guys know the formula? They use the midpoint formula. It's
For which one?
for these, all the elastic. There's own price elasticity, which is the same thing as elasticity of demand. There's elasticity for supply. There's income elasticity.
Oh, that's okay.
And then there's cross price
So the
elasticity.
2 prices, quantity over price. Is that what it was?
So the change in quantity demand over the change in price, or change in quantity supplied over the change in price. That's elasticity of supply.
It's like Q1 minus Q2.
Mhm.
Okay.
Over 2, or Q1 minus Q2 over Q1 plus Q2 over 2.
2. Okay.
Hey,
That's
can
the
you write
midpoint.
that down? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, of course, no, don't be sorry. So, it's the midpoint formula. So, it's actually Q2 minus Q1 over Q2 plus Q1 over 2. And basically what this is doing is we're taking the change in our quantity and we're dividing it by the average price. So, this is the average formula. The sum of everything divided by the number that we're summing.
If you want, I have this handout. My teacher gave me this handout. It has all the formulas on it. You guys can take a picture of that if you want to, or
I'll take a picture of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you want to give me your email, I can go scan it and then send it to your email.
I have a question.
To you guys.
Yeah.
So I have the price elasticity, like you said, is the percent change in quantity over percent change in price.
Mm-hmm.
And then from my notes, I have the cross elasticity is
Cross price
percent.
elasticity.
Yeah, thank you. Is percent change in quantity X over percent change in price Y, but I don't really see much of a difference.
That's why one thing that these formulas are easy to remember because they're the same. It's always dealing with quantity on top and price on the bottom. So, like for example, this is quantity demanded, this is elasticity of demand, quantity supplied, elasticity of supply. They're both change of quantity over the change in price. If we were to do elasticity, income elasticity, it's change in quantity demanded divided by a change in income. But if you just think of income like price, like it's money. If you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
But like
And then, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
No.
But for the cross elasticity one, I don't see any. Okay, I just don't see a difference from. I just don't understand how it's different because wouldn't you just get the same?
Like what it's
exact
measuring, or
Yeah.
because you're measuring two different prices of two different goods. So what cross price elasticity tells us is the relationship of the two products between each other. Like you guys remember substitutes and complements and the relationship between them. Like Coke and Pepsi. What are Coke and Pepsi? Substitutes. What's hot dog and hot dog buns?
Compliment.
Yeah. So we can, like, those two have relationships. Like, if we change one of those, it's going to affect the other. If I were to raise the price of Pepsi, what's going to happen to the demand in Coke?
It's gonna go down.
It's going to increase the demand because Pepsi, it's a substitute.
Okay.
So do you guys get that? Like, there's a relationship happening. So the change in Pepsi affects Coke, or the change in hot dogs affects hot dog buns. Even though they're not the same goods, they affect each other in the marketplace. Does that make sense? So when we measure cross-price elasticity, we're determining the relationship and how a change in one is going to affect the other. So I can't remember the exact numbers. Do you mind if I use your
Yeah.
So if it's 1, I believe it's a substitute. Hold on.
I think if it's greater than 0.
Yeah. So yeah, if the number is greater than 0, then they're substitutes. If it's less than 0, hold on.
Numbers on the other side as well.
Is there? Okay, yeah. So if they're greater than 0, they're substitutes. If they're less than 0, they're complements. And if they equal 0, it means they're unrelated. So that's how we can tell if the relationship, sorry guys. Does that make sense? Or were you wanting the formula? Like what? I guess
I don't. Sorry, I just don't know how to like ask it because I'm not quite sure what. But like, okay, so look at these two equations.
Uh-huh.
They look the same to me. I don't, because wouldn't you get the same answer? How do you know then? Are they supposed to be the same answer, or are they supposed to come up with the same answer?
Yeah, well that's what I mean. They're all similar. We're measuring similar things.
I know, but it shouldn't be
Okay.
the same, should it?
Well, there's going to be different numbers for each. Like the formulas are similar because we're measuring, it's a certain way to measure similar things. And you're going to have different numbers for each one. Does that make
But
sense?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what different numbers, because they're both the change in price and then the change in quantity.
So, but I mean, like, we use it for different products. I don't know what you're asking, I guess. Like, so are you more confused on quantity demand, quantity supplied, all of the above?
I don't know. It's okay.
No, we want to make sure you get this.
Is there like a way you could do a problem and show me like could you write out a problem and show me the answer to all the different ones so I can kind of like see it? Does that make sense?
Sure, yeah. Let's stick with
okay?
Coke. Yeah. So we'll just stick with Coke. So let's say that Coke, it was $2 and there was 50 demanded, and then the price increased to $3, and now there's 32. So we can tell a lot of, this is demanded. So we know quantity demanded, we know it's going to be elasticity of demand. So the change in quantity demanded, so you'd go 32 minus 50 over 32 plus 50 divided by 3 minus 2. Or, sorry, I did that wrong. The price. 3 minus 2, or 3 plus 2 over 2. Sorry. So that's quantity, or elasticity of demand.